Hi, hello students. Welcome to Indian Tech Guru for you. So let us move on to the next topic. The next topic is memory reference instructions. Memory reference instructions. So already we know that there are three different categories of instructions. Number one, memory reference instructions. Number two, register reference instructions. And number three, input output instructions. So if you consider the memory reference instructions, so these memory reference instructions are AND, add, load, store, branch unconditionally, branch and save return address, increment and skip if 0. So these are the 7 different types of memory reference instructions, so which we already know. However, now we are going to see the detailed representation of these instructions. So what is meant by AND operation? So AND operation means AND to AC, AND to AC. So what does it mean? We are going to perform the AND operation with the content of the accumulator register as well as the data register. So for that purpose, initially what we are going to do, we will be moving the content from the address location AR of memory to the data register. So in the main memory, there will be several locations. Among these locations, so we are going to fetch the data from a particular location which is represented by AR. For example, assume AR is FA2. Then if this is the address location FA2, then I am going to fetch the data from FA2. So if FA2 contains the value 100, then I am going to fetch that particular value and store in DR. So that particular operation is represented as D0 T4. D0 T4. So what is meant by D0? The operation decoder D0 represents the AND operation, and T4 represents the timing. T4 represents the timing. Okay. So what does it mean? The instruction starts with the time T4 at a particular clock cycle. T4 represents a particular clock cycle. Already we have seen in the previous class. So several clock cycles will be generated from T0 to T15 using a decoder. So during the clock cycle T4, this particular operation will be carried out. So after that, at cycle T5, still the operation is not yet completed. So we have not performed the AND operation. So at cycle T5, what we are going to do is, we are going to perform the AND operation between accumulator register and data register and store the result in accumulator register. And then clear the sequence counter. Clear the sequence counter means set the 0 value to the sequence counter. Okay. So even though it is a single AND operation, it requires 2 micro operations. What are the 2 micro operations? The first one is read operand. The second one is perform the AND with accumulator register. The second operation, memory reference instruction, is add operation. So add operation will also contain 2 micro instructions. What are they? First one, read operation. Second one, add to accumulator register and store carry if any in expanded bit E. So the first operation is, as we have seen in the previous operation, move the content M of AR to data register. So this is done. This is represented as D1 T4. That is, at cycle T4, we are going to perform the read operation, and the operation decoder is D1 for add operation. So after that, at cycle T5, what we are going to do is we are going to add the content of accumulate register with data register and store the result in accumulate register, and if any carry out, so that we are going to move to the extension bit. So these two micro operations are needed to perform the add operation. So what is the operation decoder for add? D1. The next operation is load operation. So the load operation will also require two different micro operations. So at clock pulse T4, what operation is performed? We are going to move the content from M of AR to data register, and at clock pulse T5, what we are going to do is we are going to move the content of data register to accumulator register. So this load to AC load operation is important because to perform any operation with two operands, so initially we should move the first operand to accumulate register, and then the second operation will be there in DR. Then we are going to perform the binary operation using the content of the DR as well as the accumulator register. So for that purpose, we need to have one operand at accumulate register, another operand at data register, then only it is possible. After performing each operation, we have to set the sequence counter to 0. Next operation is store operation. Store operation is the reverse to load operation. In case of store operation, the content of the accumulate register will be moved directly to the memory address register. So this can be represented as write operation. So in general, after carrying out any particular operation such as add or AND with two operands, the result will be stored in accumulate register. If you want to move that particular result to the memory, then we need to initiate the store operation. The store operation is going to store the content of accumulate register to the memory address register. The next instruction is BUN. BUN means branch unconditionally. So the decoder code is D4 for branch unconditionally, and the clock pulse is T4. So branch unconditionally means very simple. We are going to move the address register to the program counter. Address register to the program counter. So why we need to move the address register to the program counter? So because this particular AR may contain the address of a subtask. For example, if you consider a C program, we have a void main function and some set of statements, and we may define a particular function add, and then some set of statements. So then after the main program, I am going to write the code for add function. So this may contain some set of statements. So however, whenever we call this add function, add subtask, then we need to execute the statements within this particular add function. So what is the starting line of code in this add function? So if this address is stored in address register, so because the program counter needs to perform the needs to contain the address of the next instruction, we are going to move this address register to the program counter PC. So that operation we are going to perform. So then what happens? So it is going to transfer the control to the address register. Okay. But here we are not performing, we are not saving the return address. So this is the return address. We are not saving the return address. After the execution of this particular function, we need to return to this particular statement, but we are not saving. So that is why. So this particular operation, an operation like this is called as branch and save return address. Branch and save return address. Then after the completion of all these instructions, the control will be once again transferred to the next statement after the add function. Whereas this, in case of branch unconditionally, so whenever we don't want to return from a particular statement, then we are going to use this branch unconditionally. For example, an if statement is there. If A, then carry out some operations. If A is equal to 5, then carry out some operations, else carry out some other operations. Now this particular statement is called as, this particular instruction is carried out branch unconditionally. So in the main program, there will be several instructions, and after some instructions there will be if statement. If the condition is true, then it is going to execute these set of statements. If the condition is false, then it is going to execute this set of statements, and it need not to save the return address. So this particular, for if statement, switch case statement, we are going to use the branch unconditionally. For subtasks, we are going to execute the branch and save return address. Here you can see how branch and save return address works. Initially, the program counter is moved to a particular memory location, and the address register is incremented to 1, AR assignment AR plus 1, and then at time T5, clock cycle T5, the AR value will be moved to the program counter. Okay. So this particular statement recognizes that we are going to store the content of PC. We are going to store the content of PC to the memory location, and we are going to increment the address register, and then we are going to move the content of address register to PC. So this contains the return address. So the return address is once again saved in program counter. The last operation is increment and skip if 0. So increment means we are going to increment the content of the data register. Here it contains 3 micro operations. The first operation is move the content of M of AR to data register and increment the value in the data register, and then move the content of data register to the memory location. So this entire operation is the increment operation. However, this contains one more operation. What is that? Skip if 0. So what does it mean? We need to skip the current instruction. What is the current instruction? The current instruction address is PC, program counter. So just update the program counter value to PC plus 1. Then what happens? The current instruction is skipped. When we need to skip the current instruction? So whenever the content of DR is equal to 0. Whenever the content of DR is equal to 0, then skip the current instruction. Skipping the current instruction is nothing but updating the program counter value. If you update the program counter value, increment the program counter value, then the current operation will be automatically skipped. If data register content is not 0, then you need to perform the increment operation. How we are going to perform the increment operation? Move the content of memory M of AR to DR, increment the DR value, and then move the DR value to M of AR. Like this, the operation is carried out. So this particular operation is first micro operation is carried out at time t4, second micro operation is carried out at time t5, and the third micro operation is carried out at time t6. So here it is not t4, it is t6. Okay. So each micro instruction you can observe requires a clock cycle. So accordingly, it is going to perform the operation. Among all these operations, the most difficult operation is branch and save return address. Branch and save return address. So let us once more verify how it works. So initially what we are going to perform? Initially what is the value of PC? Initially the value of PC is 21. The value of program counter is 21. So that particular PC value where we are going to store? We are going to store in M of AR. In M of AR. What is the value of AR? Address register 135. Okay. So the value of address register is 135. In address register 135, what we are storing? We are storing the program counters address. Program counters address. Why we are storing program counters address? Because the next instruction is stored in the next instruction is represented by program counter value 21. Okay, program counter value 21, and now I need to execute the subtask or subroutine. Subtask or subroutine. Okay, so for that purpose I am storing the current value of the program counter into a memory location. What is that memory location? That memory location is represented by address register 135. So that is why we are storing 21 in location 135. Okay, understood? Next, now what I need to do? So for that purpose, I am going to execute an instruction, BSA instruction, branch and save return address, and where to save, the location has been given, the address location has been given as 135. So I need to store the program counter in location 135. I have done that. So this particular statement has been executed. After the execution of this particular statement, so what statement I need to execute? So I need to branch to the AR plus 1 value. Here you can see at clock pulse T4, in addition to moving the content PC to M of AR, what we are going to perform? We are going to increment the AR value. So initial AR value is 135. Now if you increment, it becomes 136. And you can see here that from 136 the subroutine or subtask is starting. So this is the first instruction. This is the first instruction of the subroutine. However, so to make sure that this particular subroutine is being executed, so always the address of the next instruction must be represented by program counter. That is why we are moving the content of AR to program counter. Then now the program counter will represent address location 136. Where the subtask is going to start. Where the subtask or subroutine is going to start. So once the subroutine has started, it continuously it is going to execute. So after the execution is completed, one more branch instruction we are going to include. So that particular instruction is not the branch and save return address, but branch unconditionally. So whenever there is a branch unconditionally statement is there, so we have given the address location. What is that address location? So 135. In 135 what value is there? So 21 value is there. What is 21? 21 is going to represent the address of the next instruction. So automatically automatically now the program counter will be updated to, so to next instructions address, that is 21, and from next instruction onwards it is going to continue the execution. So like this we are going to perform the branch and save written address. So among all the operations, this particular branch and save written address is somewhat typical, because it needs to save the written address before actually transferring the control to the subroutine or subtask. So that is why you need to be careful whenever you are going to perform the branch and save written address. If you see all of the operations of memory reference instructions as a single flowchart, we can have this particular flowchart. So the end operation, we need two micro operations, these two micro operations. For add operation, we need these two micro operations, and for load operation, we need these two micro operations. For store operation, we need a single micro operation. For branch unconditional, we need a single micro operation. So as we have seen previously, so during the branch unconditional, the content of the address register will be moved to the program counter. So that is 21 was moved to the program counter, and the 21 contains the address of the next instruction. So the next instruction will be continued from there. Similarly, branch and save written address contains two micro instructions, and ISZ contains increment and skip if 0 contains three micro instructions. So these are the all of the different memory reference instructions we need to consider. And here D0, D1, D2, D3, D4, D5, D6 represent the operation decoder code for different memory reference instructions. Next, let us move on to the register reference instructions. So as far as the register reference instructions are concerned, so the D7 value must be 1 and I value must be 0. Okay. So here based on the I value as well as D7 value, so we are going to determine the given code, whatever the given code, that given code so will be a register reference instruction. Okay. So here the register reference instruction can be represented, already we have seen this code. So the register reference instruction can be represented using this particular code D7, I dash and T3. So here D7 is 1, I dash is 0, and T3 is the clock cycle, T3 clock cycle. At T3 clock cycle T3, it will be executed. Okay. So and this entire code D7 I dash T3, so is actually, for simplicity, we are representing this entire code with R, with small r, and whatever the bits. Now once we represent the 12 to 14 bits as well as 15th bit as 1 1 1 and 0, then it will become 0 1 1 1. 0 1 1 means it is going to start with hexadecimal code 7. So all the instructions that are going to start with hexadecimal code 7 are register reference instructions, which we have discussed previously. Here for simplicity, we are calling D7 I dash T3 as R. And what about the remaining 12 bits? There are 0 to 11, 12 bits available in the address code. However, so for the register reference instructions as well as for the input output instructions, these 0 to 11 are used as instruction code, or operation code, op code. Okay. So these are used as op code. So that is why based on the bit value, either B0 or B1 or B2 or B3 or B4 or B5 or B6 or up to B11, the particular operation is carried out. Okay, the particular operation is carried out. Already we have seen how those operations are represented previously. For example, if you consider the code 01111 and 100000000000, so this represents 7800. So this code actually represents the CLA code. CLA code means clear accumulator. Clear accumulator. Clear accumulator means, so we are going to clear the accumulator, that is move the zero values to the accumulator. Okay, so this is represented with RB11. RB11 means 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. The 11th bit is 1. So now do you understand about B11? B11 means the 11th bit is 1. The 11th bit is going to represent 1. Okay. So similarly, B10 means the 10th bit will be 1. All the remaining bits will be zeros. 0, 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. So it is in hexadecimal, it is represented as 400. So the code, actual code is 7400. Okay, 7 is fixed. This 400. So like this B10 is going to represent that the 10th bit is 1. B9 means 9th bit is 1. Like that we are going to represent. So what is the first instruction? The first instruction is clear the accumulator register. The second instruction, clear the expansion bit. Clear the expansion bit. The third instruction is CMA. CMA means complement accumulator register. Complement accumulator register. So complement you already know. So we are going to perform the ones complement. If 0 is there, put a 1. If 1 is there, put a 0. So next RB8. RB8 is going to represent CME. CM means complement expansion bit. Complement expansion bit. Next RB7. So RB7 is CIR. CIR means circulate, write, accumulator and E. Circulate, write, accumulator as well as E. So for circulating write, what we need to perform? We need to perform the shift right operation. Shift right operation. So here you can see accumulator is assigned to shift right accumulator, and we are going to move the expansion bit to the accumulator 15, and we are going to set the accumulator 0 value to expansion bit. Okay, so 15th bit of expansion bit value will be moved to the accumulator 15th bit, and accumulator 0 bit value will be moved to the expansion bit. Okay, so what is this operation? Circulate right accumulator as well as expansion bit. Similarly, CAL means circulate left the accumulator register and expansion bit. So for this purpose, how we are going to perform? So move the expansion bit value to accumulator 0 and perform the shift left operation with accumulator register and move the accumulator 15th bit to the expansion bit. The reverse of the this particular operation. Okay. So next operation is increment. So the increment operation is increment the value of the accumulator. Whatever the value that is available in the accumulator, increment that particular value. The next instruction is SPA. So SPA means skip next instruction if accumulator is positive. Skip next instruction if accumulator is positive. So how could we determine whether accumulator is positive or not? So accumulator register will have from 0 to 15 bits. Okay. So if this is the accumulator register, this is the accumulator register, and 0 to 15 bits are there. So this 15 bit is going to determine whether it is positive or negative. So based on the 15th bit value, AC of 15, if AC of 15 is equal to 0, then increment program counter. Then increment the program counter. Skip next instruction means how to skip the next instruction? By incrementing the program counter, because the program counter contains the address of the next instruction. So next SNA. SNA means skip next instruction if accumulator register's accumulator value is negative. Okay. So how could we determine accumulator is negative or not? So by determining the 15th bit. So what is the 15th bit value? If 15th bit value is 1, then we need to skip the next instruction. How to skip the next instruction? Just increment the program counter value. Okay. So next SZA. SZA means skip next instruction if accumulator is equal to 0. So if accumulator contains all zeros, then skip the next instruction. So which is nothing but the increment the program counter. Next instruction is skip next instruction if E bit is 0. If expansion bit is 0, then skip next instruction, that is increment the program counter. The last instruction is halt. So halt is actually represented with a start stop flip flop. So this start stop flip flop is assigned to 0. So whenever this halt instruction is executed, halt means we are going to stop the operation of the computer system. Okay. So to once again start the operation, we need to restart the computer. So this halt instruction will be executed, and it is represented as RB0. RB0. Okay. So like this, the operations will be represented in register reference instructions, and these are the total register reference instructions available. And the third and last category instructions are input output instructions. So coming to the input output instructions, before actually going to the input output instructions, we need to make a note on how these input output instructions are represented. So generally input means we are going to perform the input operation using the keyboard, and we are going to perform the output operation either with monitor or with printer. Okay, monitor or with printer. Okay. So how this operation is carried out? So from keyboard, whenever we press a key, then it is going to send the information to the transmitter interface. So this transmitter interface is going to set the input register, and based on the FGI value, so this particular key, whatever key we pressed, so that will be stored in accumulator register in a coded format. So generally we are going to store in ASCII format or EBCDIC format. EBCDIC format, because here we are using 8 bits for INPR. So this INPR value will be stored in accumulator register. So as far as the output operation is concerned, so initially the content of the accumulator register will be moved to the OUT-R, and so based on the value of the FGO flag output. FGO means flag output. FGI means flag input flag, output flag. So based on the value set to the output flag, so whatever the value that is stored in OUT-R, so will be having interaction with the receiver interface, and that will be sent to the output device. So the output device may be a printer or a monitor. Okay. So here you can see INPR means input register which contains 8 bits, OUT-R means output register which contains 8 bits, FGI means input flag 1 bit, FGO means output flag 1 bit. So IEN means interrupt enable. So we'll discuss about the interrupts in the next slide. So as of now, you need to remember about INPR, OUT-R, FGI, FGO. So based on the values of FGI and FGO, so whether to receive the signal or stop the signal will be decided. Okay. Here you can see the sequence of operations. The terminal sends and receives serial information. the serial information from the keyboard is shifted into input register. Similarly, the serial information for the printer is stored in output register. Input register and output register communicate with the terminal serially and with the accumulator register in parallel. The flags are needed to synchronize the timing difference between the I/O device and the computer system. What does it mean? So, for example, assume that you are going to press the keys SMART, smart. So initially I will press S key, so, and this S key must be interfacing with the transmitter interface and stored in the INPR, and based on the input flag it will be stored in accumulator register. So until unless this operation is carried out, so the FGI, the input flag must be set to a particular value, and it must be changed, it must be cleared once the S value has been stored successfully. Then only the next letter is permitted to enter into the accumulator register. So if it continuously enters the characters to the accumulator register, only T will be stored. All the remaining 4 will be vanished. Yes or no? So that is why we need to wait until unless the accumulator register stores the content somewhere else, either in temporary register or in memory location, or it directly sends the sends it to the output device. So like that we need to wait until unless the operation is carried out. So that we can observe here how this operation is carried out, input operation as well as the output operation. So if input flag is 0, if input flag is 0, then INPR content will be moved to the accumulator register. Okay, accumulator register. If input flag is equal to 0, then go to loop. Go to loop means, so nothing is actually moved. Nothing is actually moved. So if input flag is 1, if input flag is 1, FGI is equal to 1, then the content of the INPR will be moved to the accumulator register. Accumulator register. So then if you enter one more character, then once again it is checks for the FGI flag. If the FGI flag is 0, then once again it will be in the loop. Okay, continuously in the loop until unless FGI is cleared to 1. Okay, FGI is set to 1. Okay, so like this, as far as the output flag is concerned, output flag is initially 1. So whenever the output flag is set to 1, it will be in the loop continuously. It will be in the loop. It is going to check for the FGO value. So once again it will come to the loop. So whenever FGO value becomes 0, so that is whenever the permission comes to consume the content in the output register, then it is going to consume the content in the output register and set the FGO flag to 1, and then it is going to go for the next character. Okay, next character. So here before actually reading for the more characters, we need to set the FGO to 0. FGO to 0. Okay. So what does it mean? Initially the input flag will be 0. Initially the output flag will be 1. Whenever the input flag becomes 1, then the read operation is carried out. Whenever the output flag becomes 0, then the output operation is carried out. Coming to the input output instructions. So input output instructions are represented with the D7, I, T3. So D7 is 1, I is 1, T3. T3 means clock cycle 3. So if you represent this entire code with P, then it contains bits from B11 to B6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 operations are possible. 6 operations are defined as input output instructions. So here also B11 means the same code B11 means 1 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0. That is 11th bit is 1. Okay, B10 means 10th bit is 1. So we can represent like this. What is the first instruction? The first instruction is INP. INP means input character to accumulator register. So that is the content of 0 to 7 bits in the accumulator register. Actually, the INPR content will be moved to the higher bits of accumulator register. Similarly, out means we are going to perform the output character from accumulator register. That is the content of the accumulator register from 0 to 7 bits location will be moved to the output register, and SK represents the skip on input flag. Skip on input flag, that is, if input flag is equal to 1, then increment the program counter, do nothing. Okay. Next, SKO represents skip on output flag, that is, if output flag is equal to 1, then the program counter is incremented by 1. That is, we are going to skip the content. We will be discussing about the ION as well as IOF after the discussion of the interrupts concept. So in the next class we will be discussing about the interrupts concept, what is the significance of interrupts, so what is the need of interrupts, and how we are going to implement the interrupts. So what is the significance of interrupts in case of the input output instructions. For today's class, that's all for now.